Good evening, and welcome to the Daily Voice presented by VNN. Bringing you today's top 5 Canadian news stories on March 11th, 2025. Let's get started. The Canada-US trade war is escalating yet again. US President Donald Trump has announced that tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum will double to 50%, effective March 12th. Trump claims the move is a response to Ontario Premier Doug Ford's new 25% surcharge on electricity exports to New York, Minnesota, and Michigan. Trump took to Truth Social to declare a national emergency over what he calls Canada's abusive threats, vowing to impose further restrictions on Canadian auto exports if tariffs aren't lifted by April 2nd. Premier Ford, however, isn't backing down. Calling Trump's move an unprovoked attack, Canadians traveling to the US for extended stays are now facing new restrictions. A new US policy, effective March 9th, requires travelers staying for more than 30 days to register with the US government. Those entering the US through land borders without an I-94 travel record may need to complete additional registration. Failure to comply could result in fines or even legal action, as Canada braces for the impact of Trump's sweeping tariffs. Some projections suggest the Canadian dollar could plummet to just 62.5 cents USD, its lowest level in over 20 years. According to economist David Rosenberg, the Bank of Canada may need to slash interest rates aggressively to counteract the fallout, potentially dropping its policy rate to 1.5%. Supply chains are already feeling the strain, with tariffs on steel, aluminum, and potentially auto exports threatening thousands of jobs. In a major shift, British Columbia has announced it will eliminate the consumer carbon tax once the federal government lifts its mandate. Premier David Eby made the announcement in response to new Liberal leader Mark Carney's pledge to phase out carbon pricing on consumers while maintaining penalties on major polluters. BC was the first province to introduce a carbon tax back in 2008, but rising living costs have led to growing opposition. While the province will still enforce regulations on large polluters, consumers could see significant relief at the pump and on home heating bills. Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is making his biggest push yet to win over Quebec voters. In a new multi-million-dollar ad campaign, Poilievre leans into his blunt and direct political style, portraying himself as the leader who will stand up to Trump's tariffs and restore economic independence. Poilievre acknowledges criticisms that he can be too blunt, but argues that Canadians need a leader who isn't afraid to fight for their interests. The campaign is targeting Bloc Québécois strongholds as the Conservatives try to gain ground in Quebec. That's all for today's top stories. Thank you for joining us on The Daily Voice, presented by VNN. Stay informed, stay engaged, and we'll see you next time.